Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to URU. So, we've managed to bumble through 3 of these columns worlds, which I think are the starter worlds, and not really make a lot of progress. So I'm hoping that this 4th one maybe is the key in a tumbler lock that would start us down a path in the almost literal sense. I'm hoping that this will give me a key, KI, spelled KI, that will potentially light up some lights in some areas, or potentially help us unlock some things, or perhaps even just unlock devices. Okay. So, it seems like exactly that is what the case is. So, you could have potentially been stubborn like me and play the other 3 worlds and not start off in this kind of entrapment room, for lack of a better reason, a starter room. This is where probably the game should have started. Start here. Read the sign. Please retrieve your key. You go through here, and we'll walk here. And I don't want to walk in third person. Here we have a door. This is a very mechanical area. The Deny Recovery Council clearly in this area, particularly, and using this key technology. This is a straight path. So why start in Arizona, and why not just start here? I guess the Nevada desert, not Arizona, does act as kind of a tutorial level for what you do in most of the game, but it doesn't really help anything. Oh my goodness, is that a camera? Is that why I have not been able to click on anything and take a picture of anything? No. Oh. So we're back to just kind of assuming that the screenshot ability in this game is just really poorly. That sure looks like a camera. Yeah, we've been seeing these, although usually they don't slide around. We've been seeing those on the ground. Here we have a link back to Deny. Here we have these lockers that can't be opened. You would think, particularly for a Myst game, you'd be able to open all these and take the books out. And it feels like this is a torch that you can't really do much with. Feels like we'll get our key on a specific platform somewhere. Some kind of dispenser that I imagine is maybe this. You stick your wrist in. All of a sudden we now have a 3rd button. Key, which seems to give us a circular distance and then a lengthwise distance. So like, I think it's from the center point of Deny, if I was to guess. You get a degree, and then you get a distance from that center point, and then you would get a rotation or true north reference, I guess. Oh man. Oh man. This has been the problem. This has totally been the problem, that there is a camera here and there's apparently a mute button. Man, this don't know how you would go through your images though. So F5, F5, F5. There we go. Now we have several images of the same thing. This is just total insanity. Like, really, really just total insanity. And I keep sticking my hand in the key because it's the only thing in front of my face. I need to look a different direction. And let's just go ahead and take... you're not going to have me play the whole game with this out like this. No, no, no. Seriously. I mean, I can drag it anywhere I want, but how do I turn it off? That just brings up the screen. That takes a picture. Wow. There. The bottom button that you can barely see. Ridiculous. Just really, really ridiculous. Now there is an F2 button that will pop up the key and take it down. So there is a device effectively like a cell phone, which would be something that would make a lot more sense, I think, to modern people's sentimentality. Let's see. Hey, we found something. But I think that probably means we're going to have to go back here. How bad can you really make your intro section of your game, really? Apparently, the new thing we've got are some logs. Like, seriously, why would you make your intro section of your game so bad that you could easily miss it and get stuck on every other section of the game for a ridiculously long amount of time? Now, does this key immediately solve all of our problems? I don't think so. I don't think it has a lighting flashlight ability. It doesn't feel like that it opens every single door. A lot of these still seem to be locked. I wouldn't be surprised if actually none of the doors open. And let's see, we ran over here and we got the key, and while I might be able to jump over there, I kind of don't feel like that's a jump puzzle. Well, we'll check on that, check back on that in a second. And then we have, so this camera here is clearly not a camera. It must be some scuba gear equipment, which I wouldn't mind having that also. And it seems like this is just a window. So click on this, and this should take us to deny, and then that means the numbers we should start seeing them. I'm not seeing any numbers. We can definitely take a picture of that. because now we should just take pictures of everything. Seems to me like there's still work to be done, though. Definitely seems like there's still work to be done with the key. We probably need to program it a lot more towards a central point over there. So let's do that. Even though it's going to take us a little bit out of our way. It's not going to take us so far out of our way. We need to go to Dunny, which I don't think is this book. Nope, that's the one area where we've gotten as far as we thought we could. And taking a picture in that area would have been useful. Yeah. So here we are at Dunny, and we're gonna look to see if there's some other places where we could use the key. Not this globe, I don't think, but we definitely know this works. I don't think we ever even used this. So we put the key in there, and then that brings us to this area with the connecting places. Now when we put our key in here, we have something named Ferry Terminal, and we have Bevan. So let's click Ferry Terminal, and this is just a straight up computer screen, which the one thing Myst games have never done before is just give us something that felt like a straight up computer screen. And then it shoots out a book, and you touch it and the book does not go with you, unlike other instances in which the book goes with you. So here we go. Nice picture. Doubt it will help us much. I kind of wish the photos would disappear, fade out after a certain point. I think that takes us back to where we were. Over here we have a gate that's knocked down, and another gate that's not knocked down. And we have yet another teleportation. Maybe the fact that the cloth linking pages are maybe the fact that they are on stone has more to do with the magic that seems to make them stay on stone. And this is the world, that section we couldn't access before. Alright, well this makes a lot more sense now. Although I don't know if there's actually a puzzle solution to this, because this seems broken and all this seems broken. So I may have just found a secret, and that may be the end of it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is just extra content that would have been on the cutting room floor. it's pretty obvious that there's some... And I can't jump in the swamp water. Which feels like you should be able to. I think you either need to establish a reason why your character can't swim, or you need to establish that your character doesn't want to swim in a game like this, or you just have them have the ability to swim. I think maybe having the ability to swim might be the smartest move there. You run into a small problem where you're going to teleport and teleport and teleport. If you're using the key system. And I have no idea what these numbers mean. Them all being zeroed certainly doesn't give you any indications. But we'll look around and see if we can find anything more. This whole ferry terminal. So if this is supposed to be a ferry terminal, that does indicate that there was some kind of nautical travel to some other location other than the city of Dunny, which means there might be other cities, I suppose. It's not. Yeah, we can't get any further to that. And remember, all of this is supposedly secretly under the United States, right? I mean, we linked to this area, and there was a linking book to this area. That doesn't... I guess maybe I got confused there a little bit. That doesn't inherently mean the city of Dunny is on Earth. It would be a lot better if it wasn't. Yeah. I am starting to feel somewhat like I don't completely understand the world of Myst, and that's probably true for a lot of people that play Myst, particularly if you just get to the next groups. I mean, there's a lot of ships here. I think the problem with Dunny being under this constant cloud of smoke makes it feel like it's underground when really didn't need to be. If they showed something, some kind of sky, some kind of constellations, something, I think that would I would appreciate that more. Also kind of appreciate if there was something over in these areas instead of having to just walk around to realize there's absolutely nothing. Like, It's funny that this is apparently the gate to the city, the ferry terminal, and yet it definitely feels like that is the 0 point that the game wants you to mark, which I'm gonna look at the key map and see if there is a button here. Toggle key, take picture, reel to book. Let's see. I'm gonna hit F3 and see what that does. Oh, that's just a book to the island, which apparently is called Reel 2. Almost like it's a reference to Real Myst Volume 2. Which it kinda, like, certainly this does have the same feelings and ideas of Real Myst. The more modern controls and walking and running as a character instead of just pointing and clicking your way to places. But you lose some control of the player's attention when you do a game like this. This is the modern way to do things, but then it took probably a decade of developing new techniques to leave visual breadcrumbs on the screen to tell a player where to go. Like all these lanterns, whether they intended it to be or not, are visual breadcrumbs of things to look at. So here's a sign that seems to be pointing to things. It's funny, this is a delete button. It would be almost better if it was a position button where you could say, just set that as my marker and take me back to that location. Sure feels like a lot of Deny Recovery Council operations were going on at one point and then they just completely shut down. Everybody disappeared. Which that definitely would be an interesting way to imply a threat, some danger of something, or just a general idea of lack of interest. People gave up on trying to rebuild Deny. They failed miserably. Something along that line. We can hear little audio pieces. Get a little bit of wind. But I don't think there's anything else here. So it does kind of feel like there's some puzzle in the later DLC that... Oh, I probably should have used the key to unlock that section. But maybe it doesn't matter. Because she definitely didn't put the key in there. Let's go back to the ferry terminal. And I'll drink some water while it loads. See, the spinning here is supposed to be hiding loads. Or at least that would have been an original idea to use, but it doesn't really work. Because you definitely could have had it spin forever as it was trying to connect to things. Connect to servers or load up data. Or at least have it spin for half the time you think it would take. It's kind of weird to have the character still be in the same animation. That definitely didn't unlock anything. And apparently maybe these are codes. So maybe you get more codes to unlock things. A 5-digit code, then a 3-digit code, then a 3-digit code's not particularly a great system. I would kind of prefer a 5-digit than a 4-digit than a 3-digit. And that just takes me back here. Okay. let's see if we can now simply start to finish some of these puzzles though. Like, because I'm feeling lucky here, and I think we might be able to actually finish one puzzle. If we go here, what does that do? That just takes us here. So I don't think that's the right move. But it does confirm that our fast travel did put us in that position, put us in a different place. I think if we go here, this is kind of where we want to be. Prison now, theoretically, with all of this reset. So, F5. No zoom, anything like that, but we can compare with it if necessary. And we can actually get a much better angle image. So we can just delete that one. But does that really show us anything different? Just 2, 3 down, and then 2 up, alternating. And does this really show us any new bit of information? I was wondering on this if there was some way to, say, reflood this area, and would that change anything? No, I don't think so. I think you'd probably just walk to this point, see a bunch of water, and that would be it. Alright. And try this fairly carefully. That's 1 down. That's 1 down. And those 2 up. Okay, so what do we want to do otherwise then? I'd really like to finish one of these puzzles without without having to resort to using walkthrough. Yeah, just as a personal point of pride. Let's see if maybe this is the one we could pull that off on. Yeah, the game really needed to either start us so that we get the key immediately, so we have the screenshot option, or just lock us in that area to start off with. And it wouldn't have even been a terrible idea if the Arizona desert, which feels like something that may have been added as the last second, and that was going to be like a desert world otherwise. Wouldn't have been a bad idea if that was a like revelation of the first game, to the point where at the end, near the end of the first part of URU, not the expansions, they straight up said, "Oh yeah, this is Nevada. This is where you're from." All right. So now, if I do this and hit F5, is that any better? Interesting. You can make the audio glitch. Alright. And there's really no reason not to just take as many photos as possible. So we'll try to get this all in one fell swoop. So we'll see that. Okay. And then that. There's a bit of a delay. And then that. So that's theoretically everything you would need to know in any puzzle you ran into, like revolving around that. Uncertain what puzzles really do revolve around that, if any. Yeah, I feel like a lot of these either are solutions that are going to have other solutions more obvious, or then this is just another bottleneck location. We can see this is spinning, so it's kind of like a clock. Yeah, it seems really silly that every solution to every puzzle in the Myst world would be in one single location, unless this was the cheat room that you were supposed to come to when you couldn't figure out the solutions, and the game just didn't bother to tell me that. I don't like the little low rumble that happens. Like when you click that button, you get a little low rumble in the sound stage. I don't see a reason for it to exist. Let's see if we can get fairly close. Now, again, this is one of those issues where I'm playing this at the highest resolution possible on a TV that is 10 feet away. So if there is some highly specific detail that I'm supposed to be getting I may just not be able to pull it out from the image. And so I assume every time I was pressing F5 up until that point, it just wasn't working. I doubt these puzzles are much of anything. Is there any other bit of artwork that matters? I noticed that there's some symbols in the art, in the pieces over here, but I don't think those matter. But anything and everything could matter, certainly. Certainly feels like there should be some kind of secret panel or something you could touch. This is an area specifically where, had they made this a game where you had an AI helper, the daughter of Atrus, for instance, with you the whole time, she could have walked around and looked at all of those things and go, oh, that's interesting. Or, oh, I think that's a solution to a puzzle. Or, you should look at this. Just even basic hint things like that would have been fairly helpful, instead of just having things on the wall and having so much on the wall, particularly in this section, that you really couldn't possibly tell what you're supposed to be looking at or what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah, I'm still not 100% certain I get what I'm supposed to be doing down here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know how much of any of this is even manipulatable. Like, this is just the stone, the copper, and the small stick. Which, if I can bring up the key in this menu, which I can't. Can't even exit out now. So here's the image. And yeah, I'm not sure. It's hard to see. It's definitely hard to see. And this is where a walkthrough probably is just easier. And something with a nice high resolution image. Something that you don't have to bend over backwards to try and make sense of. Right. See, that doesn't do anything. And that doesn't do anything. But those are really the only two options. Unless there's something about this that I'm not seeing. Alright. So let's see. Is there a central hook on these? Particularly this one up here. Okay. So now it won't let me walk backwards. Let's turn off that. I can't jump. I can't do anything. I think I just need to channel wood out of here. Alright. We have given it, I think, close to 6 or 7 hours. And it is definitely not reasonable that one would solve any of these puzzles. Like there's just so much interconnection in at least the first game. Like so much of jumping from one place to another place to another place, and then maybe coming back and thinking about it, that it just doesn't seem realistic that people would put in that much time or that much effort. So here's what I'm doing. I am looking at a walkthrough. And it says, Real 2, this is where you begin every time you return to URU, and where you escape if something nasty happens. In Real 2, there's a hut and 4 pillars. Go into the hut and pull the lever on the left, open the shoulders. The wardrobe is where you change your avatar. The bookcase on the left is empty, and the one on the right contains one book that describes 4 ages: Teledian, Garrison, Kadish Tolsea, and Ae'gura. Note the symbols for each age. Let's see if we can actually do that. There's kind of no reason not to be able to do that now. So and F5 just to take pictures of the book a couple times. I'm hitting F5 and I'm not sure if these are really taking pictures or not. And so you have that book. And then probably take a screenshot of the front of the book if you were really fast. And see, these are all Path of the Shell stories, and this is the prequel. So in the original game, as it is, this was the only book on this bookshelf. So take that, I guess, as another element. Oh, by the way, none of those pictures locked in, so you can't take pictures of books, which seems like a really dumb feature, or lack of a feature for Myst-like games. Looking at the walkthrough, leave the hut, go to the 4 pillars, and each pillar is a linking book to the 4 ages you know about. So each of those 4 books that we started with did take us to a different age, theoretically, of the same world. Again, I never really think I figured out what our ages meant. They were on the same planet, or if they are actually ever existing universes, or if they were just created by the person who wrote the linking books, or wrote a world creation book and then made a bunch of linking books to link to them. It seems like there might be world creation books on top of linking books, although those seem to be exceedingly rare. To get to the books, touch the hand of each color. If you link out, the book will be transferred to the bookcase in Real 2. So a good start. is to get all 4 books safely in the bookcase, linked to each of the ages. The clue as to which age is given by the symbol on top of the pillar. When you finally get to the age, the 4 ages are blue, Carician, orange, mushrooms, the blue symbol, yeah. But it doesn't really matter which age you go to first. I choose Carician because there's the first book on the shelf. Alright. Greason, which would be which one? Greason was this book. Here. So, you were supposed to go there, get the key, blah blah blah, and you get a borrow, B-A-H-R-O stone that will link you to the balcony in the Bevan neighborhood. You will return here to play, if you play to deny, which I think is the first expansion. Stick your hand in the slot, get the key, blah blah blah. Jump across the hole. Okay. So, a little bit of help there, I guess. And I guess I could have probably figured that one out myself. And maybe this is the thing that I needed to be reminded, is that unlike a Myst game, they want you to do physical things. So, sorry for sitting there effectively doing nothing, and I guess there maybe is a hint in that this world goes in a full loop. But they want you to jump across the path instead of just finding the secret in the path, in the crack in the path. It's very weird for a game to basically tell you don't go this way, but really mean for you to go this way. Like that's some full-on insanity. And there's a cloth. First cloth. Can't go any further here, but kind of fairly obvious that things are going to be hidden in more difficult to reach spots than you would expect. And some of the Myst games definitely had paths that were hidden behind alleyways, or in one way or another made it seem like you were crawling through a place. I would argue that some of those are pretty bad too. And there definitely was a puzzle in Myst where, in the original first game of Myst, that the linking book you needed to find was hidden magically in a desk, which is weird and wasn't repeated for good reason. Here we have a ladder, which I wasn't expecting that to be a ladder. I was thinking that was a prison thing. Again, it seems super obvious that this should have been the first world. Like, there's no getting around it, really. That this absolutely should have been the first world. If they were going to patch anything or do anything with this game, I'd say just change the starting point. Make it so you're in this world, and then throw in a linking book that takes you back to the Arizona desert. Well, I guess it is kind of nice the Arizona desert has a guy willing to give you hints. Perhaps what you do is, or what you should do is start in the desert and establish the gameplay mechanic, and then have that linking book in the desert start you in this area instead of taking you to Real 2. Then when you got to Real 2, that would be better. This is right in the way of where you need to go. So this window is supposed to be a hint as to where to go to next. Will this ever spin to a point where you can walk forward in it? Or will this ever reveal anything? I feel like I have to stop something spinning to go further that direction. Well, I'm probably not going to get squished if I just try to walk towards this, so let's just push against it and see if we can run. We made it, although the game now took out my first person perspective mode. Interesting. It doesn't feel like there's anything here. Okay, we got into a new area. We're making progress. And here's a stomp box. Stomp switch. And here's a stomp switch. And here we have something that looks like it would release. This is locking a gear into place. What is this? Giant counterbalance. None of these doors want to open. Be kind of nice if the doors did open for you in the single player element instead of everything just kind of falling apart. We have power to switches not going on. Power to something else not going on. Seems like there's a whole collection of circuit breakers, and we've seen these before, so we know sort of what we're doing with those. But we need to start the power. Okay, so standing here seems to give you a build-up of power that's a timer. So that's maximum amount of time to come and stomp on this. And come stamp on this. And try to activate this. We got something. So these foot panels. Probably should be the next thing we try to power. Again, if this was an MMO puzzle game, like the weirdness of that, trying to make Myst a MMO game, this would be a fairly easy solution. It would also be a fairly easy solution if you just had an AI partner that would just tell you that they were going to step on a platform and cause things to be powered. So do I have to pull everything? The problem here is we don't see any switches. We don't see any levers or anything. And there's only so much time. So we might run into a situation here where I just want to use the walkthrough again. Even though we're in a new point, and it would be nicer to... Come on. Be nice to do some of this. Yeah, it really does seem like there's only one switch to activate, unless perhaps you're supposed to not wait for this to fully charge. That might be the case here. There we go. It seems like one of these foot pedals is definitely designed to just put the locks back on the gears. I don't know exactly why they'd want that. And this feels very awkward and weird for a Myst game. Yeah, I kind of just don't know. Like, it seems like you have to run from one place to the next place to the next place to the next place. Let's just look at the walkthrough and see how far off that is. Let's see. Let's see. The second panel looks much like a big gear that you're standing on when you jumped into the room. The third and fourth panels indicate up and down elevators. The last panel looks like the doors you've seen in the corridors. The huge gear wheel has four clamps and foot wheel pedals that don't work. Face the rotating wall and turn right. Over in the gloom is a pressure plate to activate some sort of cylinder. When the cylinder is fully deployed, run around to the 4 panels and pull down the first blue control. This activates the foot pedals, then run back to the cylinder and allow it to fully rise again. If it fully retracts, all bets are off and you have to start again. When the cylinder is up, run over one of the foot pedals, cylinder up, then the second foot pedal, cylinder up, then finally the blue control panel on the 4 panels. This will cause the gear to rise up. Okay, let's see if we can do that. The blue control on the 4 panels. Let's just make sure that there's not another thing that somewhere, say over here in the edge, isn't some switches or a control panel. I don't think so. I think this is fairly obvious what we're supposed to do, but also fairly annoying considering how you have to accomplish it in this single player experience of something that clearly was designed to have multiple people playing it. I like to play a lot of the Lego games, and the thing I think that you could kind of take from the Lego games in particular, since they're designed to be co-opable, is that at least most Lego games, even when they are bad, never have any elements that basically would only work if 2 people were playing. That there was, I think, in the first one, maybe an achievement that would have been a lot more difficult to get without a second controller, but other than that, I think you're fairly well suited to play it. So here's the part where either I get this right or I screw this up horribly. This. Great. And this is going down. It's no longer needed. And I believe this opens the doors. Is that the case? Yes, the doors now will respond to my key. And I believe this will power elevators. And so we now have a whole facility here where now it is way easier to run around in circles. Apparently this needs a green level and we only have blue level clearance, so maybe we need to unlock our clearance and upgrade it, or maybe there's just some other secret way that you get into areas. Or it could just be the green is the door that they just didn't want to have open. A lot of these areas I think we've probably been to, but then they do just open up to a nicer position. And I guess if we go full circle, we'll know we've done that. Alright. So, in this upper area, it's kind of obvious they want us to walk across here, and then think we can make a jump to that, and then make a jump to that. We did. But was there anything to benefit from that? No. Doesn't seem like it. It is also, I guess, a little starting to get questionable on... We theoretically should be able to find the last bits of the cloth now. But, well, is it hidden behind this door? Now that we're back to where we started. There may simply just be a lot more that needs to be done. Or I may just be moving too fast. That's an elevator. And that has taken me outside to a very different looking world. Wow. Again, I really have to think that this should have been the first world and the only world that you could have accessed until you solved most of this. This looks very Star Wars-ish, I would say. And kind of feels a little bit like one of the worlds in Abduction, but that I guess will be the forever curse of Cyan as a company, is that they will just be rated and compared to their previous creations, and there's only so many different styles of worlds you can have. And speaking of Star Wars, there's, I think, a much better complaint to be made about how the Star Wars planets seem to only be either full of ice or full of sand or salt or snow. So there's a whole other section over there, and clearly a section that I just fell through the rocks. Well, with a little bit of help, this one now has 3. This one still has 0. This one has 4. And this one has 2. I think we're definitely on the walkthrough path. Like I don't think it makes a lot of sense or is realistic at all to not just use the walkthrough as much as soon as we hit even a small bit of frustration. We are in a better position now by far. Then we have the key. We started that whole building unlocking doors it might even lead to a point where doors start unlocking in Bevan also, which would be nice, because the Deny city of Bevan, which I guess Deny is more of an age instead of just a city. So Bevan might be the outskirt city, as it were. Yeah, there's hope, at least now, that we're gonna finish the game. Like, we were probably gonna finish at least the main story using a walkthrough no matter what, but it was getting very rough there for a second. And we have spent, I think, at least 7 hours playing the game, so hardcore walkthrough mode, I think it very well may be called for. I may very well also just read the walkthrough in its entirety for a world before I even start or read at least what I feel like would be an hour of gameplay mechanics. And also, as we saw here, there's still some issues. Falling through the rocks when trying to jump to the platform they clearly wanted me to reach, because clearly there was a touch thing there. Anyways, we're going late. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.